All right, we're going to start with the nation. Government kicks off process for Kyari's extradition to U.S. Suffering over petrol scarcity lingers. Patients buy diesel in hospital. Zoning crisis festers in APC. Picture here of women protesting lawmakers' rejection of gender bills. OAU student's death. Hotelier, 6 others arrive in Osun to face trial. And the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Lots and lots of updates from there. Okay, stories?
I want to say the Kyari story. Government kicks off process. So the Attorney General's office has started the application to extradite Abba Kyari to the U.S. in response to the Hush Puppy matter that, the U.S. was requesting that he is extradited for. And because of the process they have to go, they have to get a court order to do that extradition, and that process has kicked off. The court in Abuja is already looking into it. And the paper gives us more details of all the counts and all of that, but there's no point going back and forth on it. We know the entire detail. He's also facing the NDLEA one in Nigeria here and other cases that are coming up. But this one is in front of him, and you just might, at the end of the day, be extradited to the U.S. to face
I'm wondering, because I read the story, I was wondering why it has taken him so long, the Attorney General, to file this, and I'm thinking, conspiracy theory again. Because if he goes to America, jail in America is sweeter than jail in Nigeria now.
Are you sure?
All right,
he was here, he will not be in jail. He will be in his house.
Let's take another few stories.
I really need to take this story. Ondo Hospital tells patients to buy diesel. So this happened in the University of Medical Science Teaching Hospital, Akure, Ondo State. And a patient the patients were made to contribute money to buy 100 liters of diesel because they've had power outage in the hospital for a few days. And the question was, this person wanted to do a cesarean section and it was urgent. So if there's no light, they might actually lose both baby and mother. And they also mentioned how the toilets, there are no waters to flush the toilets. I came back from spending 2 days in the University College Hospital in Ibadan, and I had malaria because the kind of mosquitoes that beat me in the hospital,
on you.
It was crazy. And then also the toilets, people were using toilets everywhere in a university teaching hospital. So this story is very, 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 it touches me because we have our president currently, he has gone for medical treatment in a place where they would not be considered. It's not even, they don't think about power, they don't think about toilets. And yet in a university hospital we're having this issue. It needs to be looked into.
Very serious issue.
For those of you interested in the Russia-Ukraine, I'll give you a few updates. So our president has approved $8.5 million to evacuate about 5,000 people. I don't want to say Nigerians because they're also evacuating non-Nigerians from the western part of Europe, which is from Poland and other countries. According to the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, in conjunction with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, actually, and disaster management, they were able to get an approval. Obviously, the money has been released, and we are just wondering $8.5 million, okay, because they've gotten Max Air and Air Peace, and each of them are going to get 3 charter flights to bring them on shifts, bring them back home on shifts. So, and then the other people will be taken to their own individual countries. But other updates is that the United Nations have generally approved, said that they are going to, I think 141 of them out of 198 have agreed. They called an emergency meeting, and they've said they're going to have sanctions against Russia for invading Ukraine. And also, totally about 835,000 have fled Ukraine so far. And there's another update I wanted to give concerning 2,000 citizens of Ukraine have already died as a result of this invasion, and it has gone into the 7th day. It's quite worrisome because we thought that this would end with some kind of diplomacy meeting that happened this week, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to resolve it, and it looks like the war is going to continue. Okay, moving on quickly to the Punch. You want to take another story there, right?
No, I was just going to talk about the... I saw a viral video of Sheun yesterday saying that all the churches, the president should bring his plane. They should not tax Max Air and Air Peace. They should go and use their private jets to go and carry these people.
That's true.
That's different now. Because, anyway, let me not just... The Punch. invasion of Nigeria, 140 others vote against Russia, Ukraine to get $5.2 billion lifeline. Ogun contractor kills girlfriend, writes wife commits suicide. Police summon orderly carrying VIPs, food, and ex-envoy denies. Nigerians suffering under reckless misrule of the elite, says Jega. Modular refineries can't refine fuel due to price regulation. Senate may pass revised budget next week. FG orders domestic airlines to reverse 60% airfare hike. Insecurity may scare voters in 2023, Khan warns. And if ASUU stops fighting, public varsities will die like primary schools. Okay, which stories?
No, I wanted to take you want to take the major headline?
Yes, because it's linked to Ukraine.
Follow up with Morel quickly. So, the UN General Assembly, 193 countries of the UN General Assembly voted against Russia yesterday for the invasion of Ukraine, of course. And 35 countries, mainly African countries, stayed out. They mind their business. They are the Algeria, Angola, Congo, and some other African countries, Tanzania and all of them. South Africa also stayed away, Senegal. But we have Nigeria joining the other countries who voted against Russia, not minding their business again, including the United States in this matter. So whether or not we have...
So in the whole of Africa, it's only Nigeria that voted?
No, it's Nigeria that I even see. Of all of them, Nigeria joined. Africans decided to mind their business.
Inside the matter.
You know, countries like China stayed away. Other countries stayed away.
But China, I think, supports Russia anyway. But that's not even...
No, not just because we have African issues, we have other issues, and we have our own internal issues.
We don't get petrol to go from point A to point B.
We really do not have... Just evacuate Nigerians out of this matter.
But as a member of the United Nations, we also have interest, global interest, that we also have to look at.
We don't vote get interest now.
Okay.
Let's say they will even notice them, I will not mind. You that they not sent. I beg. Sorry, the contractor Hakim Oladimeji has allegedly committed suicide. He was beaten. I mean, he had a disagreement. They were arguing, him and his girlfriend, and he hit her with a stick. She slumped and died. He took her body and took her and put her in the car. People, eyewitnesses who saw him carry the body to the car. He now drove to the house, his house. They were in a rented apartment, an apartment he rented for her. He drove to the house, his house, went into his house for a bit, then drove to somewhere on the expressway.
Still with the woman in the car?
With the woman in the car.
Okay.
He now drinks sniper and then dies. He dies with her in the boot, both of them. You know, because I saw the video of everyone saying, see, the smell attracted people. They had been there for about 2 days. And the video was, people were saying, look, they were having sex and they died. But the police are saying, no, he committed suicide. He had killed her by mistake. He left a note. Without going to the house, was leaving a note to his wife saying...
Oh, he's even married?
He's married.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I wonder what could have happened that he killed himself.
No. He hit the girl.
He angrily hit the girl. The girl died. So he had committed murder, and his reaction was to kill himself. Oh, God.
Well,
okay, another story.
A video of that police officer carrying jollof rice.
Please.
So the Nigerian police have said they've summoned the police officer who was carrying a food tray with the former Nigerian ambassador to the Netherlands, Nimota Kombi. And they're doing what they're doing within the police, but Madam has responded. She said no, he was carrying his own food, that she allowed him to go get his own food, and that he was carrying his own food. According to her, she said, the truth is that I allowed him to pick his food. I am a teacher and a disciplinarian. That's all she has to say to defend herself. But in the video, she needs to explain.
But the truth is that she was listen.
She says it's her detractors who have been saying...
Did you see the man say, Madam, do you want meat? Madam, do you want rice? How do you know he's carrying for her? So you can actually argue both ways.
The real issue is, we've seen that happen several times.
Did you see
where orderlies help out? But let me take the story of ASUU.
We have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Yes. You had a story?
Yes, the national president of the union, the ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, mentioned that he was doing an interview and he broke down why ASUU has gone on strike again. And I liked the way he explained it, illustrating the way the primary schools and secondary schools have largely been abandoned, especially primary schools, because the union of teachers in primary school did not fight for the system to be revitalized. That private universities just are happy with the way things are going because more people are taking their children into private university, but not everybody can afford it, and they cannot watch and let the inefficiency of the government bring down our public schools. He also spoke about the fact that the 200 billion that President Jonathan promised to give, the first tranche was paid, but it was paid from TET fund, which for him felt like you were taking money from the university to pay the university, and that the government isn't committed. That one of their major demands is that currently we pay the percentage of our budget that goes to school is between 5 to 6%. That other schools, other countries that seriously mean business in the educational sector commit at least 15 to 25% to it, not 5% to 6% to education, which is the future of the country. And I think it is a valid demand to make.
Are we taking the gender bill story here?
It.
Okay, so let me take that story here. So many women obviously marched to the National Assembly yesterday because of the gender bills that were rejected by the National Assembly. So the spokesman, Senate spokesman Senator Ajibola Bashiru, was saying that it is the women's constitutional right to protest. However, part of the democratic process is such that once the voting has been concluded, nothing can happen until maybe the next round of review that might come up. They should continue with their lobbying, and hopefully during that time, things might change. But right now, out of 68, 21 bills were rejected, and there's no going back. So it cannot be reversed, according to this spokesperson. But the women are still demanding, they're not going to take no for an answer, and they believe that this must be revisited and reviewed. It's something we have to speak with on the comment on the side. We have to speak to the Speaker of the House, and see what can be done, because women are saying they're not going to take no for an answer.
You know, I was listening to the radio today, and they were talking about Margaret Ekpo, how she made women become involved in politics. Was they bought all the salt, all the rich women bought up all the salt, and then they were now cooking food for their husbands without salt. When the husband was saying, where is the salt now? That's such a rich story. You know, so the men now had to relinquish, you know. But what the reason I brought this up is women actually, we have to do something about it. It is not fair that they should keep on marginalizing us. And I know this is a female forum where we can talk, where we can strategize. We need to strategize so that they are forced to change it. Because
they just rubbed it in our faces that it's a man's world.
So as discussed yesterday, the only strategy we've identified is that once the list gets out, so because according to the Speaker, he will release the list of who voted and who voted against. When we have the list, the strategy now is that the women within the constituency of those people that voted against, you go to that person, that lawmaker that you voted against us, and therefore you're not going to get, we're going to vote against you. You get our vote. If you can make that declaration within your constituencies, we're moving forward.
And women stand by it, and they vote all those people out.
Yes.
Next time, when
so that's the first strategy. Before we start talking about anything else. So we're waiting for the list. Hopefully the Speaker would not be lobbied out of giving us this.
Let's see whether he has the
power,
the chest, that's it's not one, the chest to give us the names.
Moving on quickly.
That's how they will tell you in Nigeria. They will give you the name. All the names they have been giving us, we are still waiting for the names.
Vanguard, government marketers trade blames as scarcity bites harder. National Convention, APC rubbishes consensus arrangement, names Kwara governor as zoning committee chair. Strike at port, 12,000 vehicles trapped, demurrage mounts. Nigeria in process of total collapse, says Jega. ASUU strike over soon. Tinubu not opposed to reconciliation with Aregbesola, says aid. Lent begins as Nigerians mark Ash Wednesday. And LG, that's local government, battle moves to states as an NULG accuses governors of plots to scuttle autonomy. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let's start with the port strike. So the ports have been on strike, have been inactive for a while now. According to them, custom brokers and freight forwarders have been on strike. And speaking to the Vanguard was the chairman of Shippers Association of Lagos, South, he was saying that the operators of the ports and terminal multi-services Nigeria Limited are giving them the figures so far that about 100,000 vehicles are at the port, 12,000 of them have entered demurrage to the tune of 600 million naira, and that this is because that the custom introduced vehicle identification number, which is, of course, unnecessary. It's not working with them. That they allowed it when it was initially introduced because, you know, we're just coming back from COVID, and they sort of put up with the hardship that new policy was giving them. But they were expecting that they will move away from it because it's costing them. That these vehicles, when they come in, they're not put into the Tokumbo vehicles, when they come in, they're not put into the market unfit. They are always fixed before they put into the market. Yeah. And then they refer to the fact that, you know, we don't have a car buying policy, those kind of loan arrangements in Nigeria here. So for a person to buy a car, a civil servant or a worker to buy a car that, you know, they would like, they can afford it. They can only afford the Tokumbo. So they are putting in standard. And rather than focus on the standards of the vehicles going out, they are focusing on a new policy that is costing hardship. To them, policies are what they are using. So they are asking the government to reverse the policy. VIN. Yes, and you know, last time they talked about the CBNE custom paper, asking them to that also is costing hardship, and that was the initial reason.
All right. Thanks for that story. So the Ooni of Ife and Alaafin of Oyo had called a meeting with the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, concerning the rift between himself and the former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And at the meeting, Asiwaju was not invited. According to his aide, Tunde Rahman, was saying that Asiwaju was not invited at that meeting. However, he's not adverse to having a meeting concerning the reconciliation of both of them, because obviously he's worked with Rauf Aregbesola for 8 years as was Commissioner for Works under him, and he also supported him in becoming the governorship governor of Osun State. So definitely he's not adverse to any reconciliation, but at the meeting he wasn't invited, but he's sure that they will be invited Asiwaju separately for another meeting.
So I'll take the local government story. One of the good news from the amendments was that they signed, one of the things that got signed was local government autonomy. So now the president, Akim Ambali of the local government, Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, has said that the NGF, specifically mentioning Governor Fayemi, is trying to scuttle this new move because, according to him, the NGF, the Nigerian Governors Forums, are trying to come together because this law isn't confirmed until the 2/3 of states sign it as well. So even though the National Assembly has supported autonomy of local government, they are shouting out that the states should follow up and that the governors should not scuttle the move to create the move for financial autonomy for local governments. Okay, moving on quickly now, we have to wrap up, but let me just take a few stories. In Daily Sun, trapped Nigerians arrived at Buhari, approves $8.5 million for airlifting. NNPC Limited debuts in July, says Kyari. Strike, ASUU agrees to consult members, reverse with report before weekend. Khan expresses fears about 2023 elections, and Labour to float new party challenges APC PDP. Please let me take that story. Ali Wabba. At an event yesterday, I think it was, what's the name of that event? There was a workers' conference, I believe, that it happened yesterday. He was saying that they're ready to float their own party because they have 10 million workers, 8 million pensioners, and their dependents, and in total they can get up to 40 million of them to get PVCs and scuttle the efforts of the APC and PDP. So they're saying that if they're not able to provide, obviously, the basics, the education, infrastructure, the economy, they will be forced, therefore, to have their own party, and their charter of demand is what they're insisting must be adhered to. If not, they'll float their party and be able to scuttle the party. Interesting. I think I would like to see that. It's nice to have a whole... We're all desperately looking for a third force. So if Labour wants to do that, it'll be interesting to see. We have to wrap up. Let me take the story of Khan. So Dr. Samson Ayokunle, the president... Unfortunately, we can't take that story. We have to wrap up. We run out of time. That is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, what our hot topics, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.